Okay, welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. If you've had a bit of a look at a couple of my videos, I hope you've enjoyed them. And today what I'm going to do is just go through one of the systems that I use in terms of operating system. It's called Linux, and you may have heard about it. There's a website called DistroWatch, which if you log on to that, you'll get a whole list of different types of Linux operating systems. The one I'm using here on this system is Arch Linux with the KDE desktop or KDE Plasma desktop. Been using it now for a couple of weeks and haven't had any issues. Rumour has it that it is vulnerable to breakdowns where sometimes with updates, but if you sort of be careful with updating the system, it shouldn't really be an issue. But you need to have a bit of a knowledge, well, I won't say knowledge, but a bit of a thing about command line and getting yourself out of a bit of trouble. There's a good wiki page on the net for the Arch Linux system, and it's a great source of reference and very, very helpful indeed. But I'm not going to not into that sort of thing really. I'm no expert, and there's a lot of other YouTubers out there that have got a hell of a lot more knowledge than what I have. But for me, for what my purposes, I use Linux. I've used Linux since 2009 when I first started with Ubuntu, which is a Debian-based distro. Back then, it was very good because I went from Windows XP to Ubuntu and had that for a while, and then I started distro hopping around, trying various flavors of Linux. Linux Mint is very, very good for someone coming across from Windows or even Mac for that matter. They have a very good help wiki as well, and Zorin OS, there's another good operating system which is well worth having a look at if you're into that. The whole thing with the Linux operating systems is it's free and open source. You can donate to the cause if you wish. That's entirely up to you. I have donated a couple of times to various distros, simply because it's just on my behalf. It's just a thank you for the work that they all these open source developers do, and yeah. But this here today, what I'm going to do is over a period of time now, I'm just going to go through some of the things that I do with Linux. For example, if I'm creating videos, I use a couple of video editing programs. One is here, Kdenlive, which I use. It's a very capable system, and if you're into videos or creating videos, editing videos, home moves and things like that, this is one that's quite good to use. The other one that I also use is a system called Cinelera, which I've been using to do a lot of my home movies, travel movies and things like that. And again, this is a very good system. It's a bit harder to use than Kdenlive, but once you get your teeth around it, it's a very, very good video editor. But they're just the sort of two that I mainly would use. So yeah, at the moment, both of them are the only ones that I know. There's a lot of other ones around, DaVinci Resolve, which is proprietary software, etc., and the Lightworks and all that sort of thing. But I try and stick where I can to the open source ones, and also open source software. And the only thing I've got here is, well, a couple here. There's FileZilla, which I use, and also Skype. Obviously, everyone's using Skype, so why not use Skype as well? In my intro, I talked a bit about the various distros of Linux, and here, this is the web page called distrowatch.com, where you can get a whole heap of information in terms of the various distros that are available. And if we go and have a look and see how the ratings are, well, not really ratings, it's just how many hits the individual operating systems get. At the moment, for example, Endeavour OS, which is another Arch Linux system, is on top at the moment. MX Linux was right up there for almost a year or so. Linux Mint, that's the one I talked about there. That's a very good system for people coming across from Windows or even Mac for that matter. It's got different desktops, and it's available in for the 64-bit and also 32-bit. And it's based on Debian, which is the grandfather of grandfather of Linux actually. Started off way back in 1992-93, and Ubuntu, which is a derivative of Debian, but together the Linux Mint team have created a great operating system, which everything works out of the box, and it's not bloated with unnecessary software. So once you install it, you're up and running basically. So here at DistroWatch we have the Zorin OS operating system, and it also comes from Ireland, as does the Linux Mint OS, and also based on Debian and Ubuntu long-term release. Zorin OS is also a very good operating system, and if you go to their website here, which is zorin.com, or zorinos.com I should say, it then also gives you the different flavors of Zorin OS that you can download. And so there you basically have it. It's something for you to, if you're inclined to be looking at something like that, then distrowatch.com is the place to be. Just another quick thing here. Up top here we have major distributions, and if you click on that, it actually gives you a listing of a few different operating systems, like Linux Mint. Gives you a bit of a story about that, the pros and cons of the system. Ubuntu, same thing there, pros and cons. MX Linux, that one there, again, pros and cons there. So there's quite a bit of information there. This is the one that I'm using, and occasionally instability and risk of breakdown. That's what I was talking about in my intro, but up till now I've had quite a good run with it. These are more for real, I say, tech-savvy people who really do know the ins and outs of, say, Linux, or want to learn a bit more about Linux in terms of setting it up, because these take a bit more to get into. Slackware, same thing there. Slackware is a different one. Debian here, this is the one that a lot of the apart from the Gentoo and Slackware and Arch Linux, most of the operating systems, Linux operating systems, are based on Debian and Ubuntu. So this one here would be the grandfather of them all, I'd say. And then you have Fedora, which is again an independent system, a bit different to the other systems. But there's a wealth of information here for you to have a read through if it's something that you want to be looking at. So that's distrowatch.com. Alright, so here we go. Back again with a bit more about the Linux operating system. This one here, as I said, is Arch Linux, and I've been using it for a few weeks now. And just to give you an idea of what it's all about. Here you have the Arch Linux, the 64-bit system on my desktop there, and the long-term kernel, which is that one there. Been up now for about an hour, and so it goes on. Plasma, that is the desktop. Breeze is the icon set and theme set. The console, that's the terminal. In Windows you have also the terminal, as you do in the Mac as well. and this is quite an old system actually. It's it is an i7, but have a look at the. I mean, we're talking. Um, this system's about what I'd say about 5, 6, 7 years old. It still works good though, and got the NVIDIA graphics card, which I don't use the NVIDIA drivers because I've found that I don't think they don't play too well. I just prefer to use the open source drivers. Works just as good. Other people will say that you get more out of it if you use the proprietary drivers. Well, that's their choice. Mine is I just don't. It just doesn't bother me. So at the moment we're using 1 gig of RAM for this system here. Now, let me put it into perspective for you. If I was to get the latest version of Windows 11, okay, I could not run it on this computer. Okay, this computer would not be capable. Well, not I don't say capable, but Windows 11 won't let me run on this computer. Okay, and yet this system that I'm running here is pretty much the latest version of Arch Linux, and it gets updated every week, right, with all the latest software and drivers and kernels, etc., etc. And that's where the difference between, say, Windows and Linux comes into it. Old computers will run absolutely great with Linux. Doesn't matter which version of Linux you're using, whether it's Mint, Zorin, Arch Linux, or Debian, whatever. They will run on old computers. Okay, and this one here is the. I have a Dell laptop which is about 2 years old now, and that's running the same system, and that thing flies. Okay, I'm not too sure. I don't know whether Windows 11 would actually run on that computer. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I don't want to try it. I'm not a fan of any of the other operating systems. Yeah. Okay, so moving down the line. Here you have your menus. Okay, application menu. Okay, and down we go here with development, different styles or different software for different things to do with the system. Education-wise, you have mathematics and you have science, Marble, which is a world map. Okay, where you can sit down and just have a look and see where you are in the world, whether you're in Europe or in Australia, where we are at the moment. And there you have. Okay, you have. We're here in Perth. Okay, and that's the Marble map, and it's free and open source. Okay, it mightn't be as comprehensive as say Google Maps, but look, for what we use it's more than ample. And you can actually go and do a search for different countries, different cities if you like. Let's say, for example, Zurich. ZH. Zurich, yeah, let's say Switzerland, yeah, let's have a look and see if it finds it. There we are, look at that, Zurich and Switzerland, there it is right there. Okay, there you go. Okay, and it gives you a bit of a detailed open source street map of the area. Okay, you can zoom in and you can also zoom out as well. So that is free and open source. How nice is that, eh? All right. Okay. Further down the line, if we have a look here, graphics, you've got different programs here for document scanner. That's your for scanning documents, photos, etc. GIMP, which is along the lines of Photoshop. GThumb, that's a photo management program, very basic, but it's good enough for what I need. LibreOffice, Office Draw, which is like the Microsoft Office setup, and Ocular, which is a PDF viewer. Right? Internet, we have the different Firefox, FileZilla, Dropbox. These are some of the things that I've added to the system. SeaMonkey, which is a very old web browser come internet suite, and it was based originally on the I can't think of the name now. It's that, but they're a very old system. But the reason I use it is because let me show you it. I can create web pages with it, and I have done that for some friends of ours. I've created, for example, with a friend of ours, very simple web page. There you go. Look at that. Okay. So that's SeaMonkey. The web browser. I wouldn't be using the web browser as my daily web browser simply because it's sort of gone past its use by date. But in an emergency, it could be used. Okay, so one of the biggest questions that's always been asked about Linux is, can I do things on Linux that I can do on the other operating systems, be it Mac or Windows? And the answer to that one is yes, certainly you can, because these days Linux, all the software that you have on Linux all have graphic user interfaces, and so it makes it very easy to do work with Linux in terms of using, say, the file manager or a graphics tool or anything like that, because yes, they are all based GUI interfaces. And one of the, like for example, the file manager, we have on this particular program, we have Dolphin File Manager, which comes with the KDE Plasma desktop, which I'm using here on Arch. And as you can see here, you have the on the left-hand side, you have your home folders, and then as you go down, you have the various folders for documents, downloads, music folders, etc. So yeah, if you want to transfer something, say, from one folder to another, for example, you might have something in a video folder that you want to transfer over across to the download folder. So rather than doing this, clicking on the video and then picking out the file that you want, it's quite easy to just turn around and have you click on your video folder, okay, and then go up here to split, right? And then if you right click on the right hand side of the panel, then go to downloads. You've got your downloads folder there, and so all of a sudden all you have to do is do this with the mouse, and you can say copy to here or move to here, click on that, and there you are, it's already over there. So that's how easy it is, okay? Once you're finished, you can then just close it again, and there you are, you're in the downloads folder. So that's how simple it is. Dolphin File Manager, a very powerful tool, and it's part of the KDE Plasma desktop. But there's also other software that you can use, GUI interfaces. You've got the console, or the terminal, as it's called in other Linux distros. In the KDE Plasma, it's called the console. And here you can do command line things if you wish to. For example, if you wanted to install software, say you type in sudo, which is the super user command, and then you would, for example, with KDE Plasma, you would, or the Arch Linux way of installing software, which is the Pacman or Pacman Manager. You would type in Pacman, and then hyphen and the capital S, and then the software that you wanted, and then click on enter, type your password in, and away you go. So that's how simple it is with the Arch Linux one. If it was any other one, say a Debian or Ubuntu, you would do sudo and then apt, which is the package manager for Debian or Linux Mint or Ubuntu, and then also install, type in install, okay, and your program that you wish to install, again hit enter and type your password, and it'll install it for you. So there's that's the command line via the terminal or the console in this case. So yeah, it's there's a lot of ways of doing that. You also have the actual package manager itself. If you go into the system setting system here, and where it says add remove, you get the package manager, and here you would say be able to search for a particular package that you're looking for. For example, if I was say looking for Kden Live, which is my video editor, and I wanted to install that, I would type that in, and there you are. It comes up there. You click on that. Okay, in this case, if I click on that, it's going to tell me that I have installed it. But if you haven't installed it, then you could then install it via this package manager. So again, there, things like that are also very simple to do in the Linux world. Other software that's available, of course, and also cross-platform, things like Audacity, which is a audio program where you can manipulate an audio file or create an audio file via recording. For example, if you press on the record, and I'll just do that very quickly here, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, it's all working out there. And now I'll stop that. And if I play that, just do that very quickly here, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, it's, and then with the help of the effects and things like that, you can then create a different, for example, if I put an echo on there, okay, and now if I play it now, just do that very quickly here, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, it's all, well, as you can see, I haven't used this program for a while, so I need to go back to my notes to actually get this working properly. But that's Audacity, and again, a very strong tool that if you're manipulating, I'm stumbling over my own words here. If you manipulate, or if you wish to manipulate audio files, this is the program that you can do it with. So a very, very powerful program. Moving down the line here, we have, if you're still using DVDs or CDs and you want to create a DVD with a video file that you have, you can do it with K3B, which is the DVD burning tool in this particular operating system. And again, a very powerful tool where you can create a new audio CD or a DVD project or anything like that. So very, very powerful tool. You've got music files that you want to play. There are quite a number of different music players available. Different desktop environments have different types of music players, but you can also install different players onto a particular desktop environment that you have. On this one here, on the KDE Plasma desktop, I've installed Clementine, which is a cross-platform music player. It's also available on Windows and also in the Mac environment as well. But you have music players like Audacious and Banshee and Rhythmbox, which are also quite good players. I prefer this one because it has got a few extra tools that can be used. So I'm quite happy to be using Clementine for my music files. Okay, as we move along further down the line here, video players, you have, for example, another one, cross-platform, which is a VLC media player for playing DVDs, and audio CDs, and so on. Again, as I said, cross-platform, available on Windows and also Mac. One that's more suited to the Linux world and also to this environment here, KDE Plasma, is the SM player, which also plays all the different types of audio CDs and video DVDs as well. Quite a powerful little media player as well. Now, in the Linux world, there's also a number of different Office suites available. One of the major ones is, of course, LibreOffice, which is also cross-platform. You can get it for Windows, and you can also get it for Mac, but it's predominantly used here in the Linux world. it's, as I said, it's called LibreOffice. It has all the different tools available for you: the writer, the math, the calculator, and the database, etc. It's like pretty much along the lines of the Microsoft Office suite. Further down the line here, at the bottom here, we have, for example, a photo management tool called GThumb, which is a very basic management tool, but for what I use, for my needs, it suits me quite fine. I can resize images if I need to. I can do a bit of color correction with the images if I needed to. So I'm not phased in anything fancy, or I can resize this image, for example. If I go here to the tools section, there we have resize, and I can change the size either in percentage or in actual pixels, and then save it to a different folder. If I need to do some rotating, I can rotate the image whichever way I like, back that way and back that way. So there's a number of things I can do. I can crop it as well if I wish to, and also if I need to do some color corrections, I can go in here and just gently do this sort of thing with it. Okay, along here. Okay, change all this around. Do the gamma. Okay, so again, it's a powerful tool, and it's enough for what I need. And it's the don't save, of course not. I don't want to save that. I don't want to spoil my photo. That's the photo management tool. There are, of course, more different types of photo management tools with a lot more tools that you can use. But again, it's up to you, the individual, how much or how involved they want to get with the program. Photo collage, simple program where you can add a set of images and then create a collage. Which wrong one? There we go. Create a collage. Okay, and let's just make that a bit bigger if we can, and then you can also go for different styles, something like that. You can change the border color if you wish. You can go from there to, say, a blue. Okay, do that with it. Okay, and there you have the blue border, etc. You can also change the size of the actual collage from the say the normal size. You can change it up to a from 800 by 600 right up to the HD 1920 by 1080, and then save it, and you have the full HD collage in front of you. So it's a nice little program if you've got several photos that you want to sort of put into a collage, and you can do it with this particular program as well. Okay, the Marble Map, I think I touched on that at the beginning, which is quite a nice program. It's not on the par of, say, Google Maps, but it is simply a easy way of finding a way around the world. Looking for a particular place, you can do that in the search bar here. If you wanted to look for something, say in Switzerland, like that, Switzerland, Switzerland, I think it is. Yeah, there we go. And type that in there, and there we are. That's what I was looking for, and there we have it right there. So yeah, very good. You can zoom in further if you like. It gives you the streets, or you can zoom out further. Okay, get an overview whereabouts it is in Switzerland, and that's the Google Map. So not Google Map, I beg your pardon. It's called Marble. It's part of the KDE environment here. Document scanner, that is if you have a flatbed scanner or a scanner in general, you can use this particular program to scan a document and save it to your file, right? And Timeshift, this is a great program, this one here, where everybody talks about backups, doing backups, which are very, very very important with your computers. And if you don't do backups and something goes astray, you've lost your work, or you've lost important documents, you've lost old photos or current photos, whatever, videos, anything like that. So it's very important to do backups. And in the Linux world, this one here, Timeshift, is a very popular backup tool, where you then enter your password, and then you can then once you've plugged in your portable drive or whatever, or a thumb drive or whatever you're using to do your backup, whether you have a large file to back up or a small file to back up, you can use a portable hard drive or a thumb drive, and then back your system up on those particular media devices. So yeah, very, very powerful tool. Okay, one of the questions that's always been asked about Linux is, do I need an antivirus program? Well, basically, no, you don't, because most of the viruses that are written for Windows, unfortunately, because probably 96% of the world uses Windows as their operating system. A smaller percentage use Mac, and the rest of the percentage use some form of another operating system, be it Linux, be it BSD. Linux, I don't have an antivirus program on my system here, and neither on my laptop, but I will be installing one. But that's only because sometimes people send me files from Windows operating systems, and sometimes I might pass those files on to friends who also have Windows. Now, in order for me not to pass on a virus, I would scan that particular file within my antivirus program before I pass it on. But in general terms, Linux, I don't worry about antiviruses on the Linux, in my Linux system here. Having said that, though, there are viruses written for Linux, but they are few and far between. Okay, now in all the years that I've been, in the 13 years that I've been using Linux, I haven't come across one virus on my system at all. Okay, so it's something that I'm not really too concerned about, except for passing it on if I was receiving a Windows file and passing it on to someone else who has a Windows operating system. Firewall, yes, certainly I do have a firewall running here, which blocks off all incoming attacks, if you could call it that, but lets me go out into the internet world without any great dramas. So the firewall, yeah, always very handy to have running. Okay, that's pretty much about the software and the operating system itself. Just a final thing about Linux, the various desktop environments. Can you customize them? Well, yes, you can too. You know, this one here, for example, KDE Plasma. If I go into the settings menu here, I have a whole heap of different things I can change in my environment here. It's from the appearance, from a dark to a light color, application style, different types of application styles that I can set up. The Plasma style, I can go from Breeze to Breeze Dark, okay? And every different desktop environment in Linux has its own system settings for customizing their particular system. Cursors, I can change the cursor if I need to from one to the other. Different types of font, I can also download different types of font from the internet, and different splash screens. Okay, so you look, there's a ton of different ways of customizing a Linux system, and also changing, for example, changing the desktop wallpaper, for example. you can download a number of different wallpapers from the internet, and it's so easy just to change the wallpapers here just by doing that with it. Okay, you suddenly have a different wallpaper there. Whoops, wrong one. Oh dear, where am I? Wallpaper appearance. Nope. Hang on, I'll get it right in a minute. There we go. There we go. There we are. Wallpapers. Okay. So you can use your own wallpapers, or you can download something from the internet, which is available to you to use. Okay. So yeah. It certainly is. Linux is very customizable, and I would say, in terms of ease of use, probably easier, maybe easier to use than Windows or even Mac for that matter. So, but that's just my opinion. So don't hold me to it. Okay. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the journey along my through my system here. Well, that pretty much covers it for this video. I hope I've given you some ideas as to what Linux is about, and if somewhere down the track you're considering changing from one of your existing operating systems to Linux, I hope I've given you some ideas and also a bit of an insight as to how the system works. So without any further ado, I'll thank you for watching, and bye for now.